Hi, my name is Vijayan Ganapathy and I'm from MuleSoft's product management team. In this video, we will see how B2B organizations can unify and streamline their order-to-cash workflows leveraging MuleSoft's Anypoint platform. B2B companies receive orders from their customers and buyers through different channels. EDI standards such as XML and EDIFACT account for over 70% of B2B orders. Non-EDI data formats, APIs, e-commerce storefronts, punch in punch outs, and marketplaces are other common methods used by B2B buyers to send order information to their suppliers. MuleSoft's Anypoint Partner Manager provides organizations with a consistent and low-code experience to manage B2B transaction exchange through structured business document formats such as XML, EDIFACT, JSON, XML, and CSV. Though structured business documents are most widely used by large and medium enterprise customers, there are several small and mid-market companies using unstructured data formats such as PDFs and images that are used to send order information to their suppliers through email attachments, fax, or FTP and SFTP-based file transfers. These orders have historically been entered into the backend order management and ERP systems manually, leading to delays in processing orders and also errors due to manual data entry. With MuleSoft's recently launched Intelligent Document Processing or IDP service, B2B organizations can now easily turn these unstructured business documents into structured JSON messages. These converted JSON messages can then be processed and translated into your backend application-specific data formats, leveraging Partner Manager's dynamic message transformation and routing capabilities, essentially enabling you to reuse the same API orchestration pipelines that you have built to process your structured business documents coming from your large and medium enterprises. As a result, your business and IT users get a centralized visibility into both structured and unstructured business documents in a single and centralized place. Partner Manager also provides the ability to reprocess messages that may have failed in the backend processing through a single click of a button in the UI, or those reprocessing actions can be fully automated by leveraging Partner Manager's platform APIs. We will now see how all of these possibilities come into life with a quick demonstration of the platform. For this demonstration, we have a fictional appliances manufacturing company, Mythical Appliances, that receives purchase order data from 3 of their customers. The first customer is Orange Tree, that uses EDI XML standards. The second customer, Home Supplies, has their own custom JSON structure that they use to send order information to their suppliers over a RESTful API call. The third customer, Smartronics, sends PDF attachments over email to send purchase order data to their suppliers. We will now see how Mythical Appliances leverages the unified MuleSoft Anypoint platform to process the orders coming in through these 3 different data formats in a consistent manner into Salesforce Order Management, which serves as their omnichannel order management and service hub. We now logged into Mythical Appliances Anypoint Partner Manager instance and looking at the first message flow for Orange Tree, which is to process an inbound EDI X12 850 purchase order document. A message flow in Partner Manager is nothing but a routing configuration that defines how a message is received, what type of message it is, what transformation mapping needs to be applied, and what do we do with the translated data. So in this case, Orange Tree is sending the EDI 850 purchase order data through a HTTP endpoint call. This can very well be an AS2 endpoint or an SFTP or FTP based file pickup, as Partner Manager supports a wide variety of B2B transport protocols. And once it is determined to be an X12 4010 850 dynamically by Partner Manager, users can optionally apply if you want to return a functional acknowledgement back to the customer or not. So if this configuration is enabled, Partner Manager automatically takes care of generating and sending the functional acknowledgement as a 997 transaction back to the trading partner, depending on how the message validation rules are executed. If the message is deemed valid, it then gets sent to the transformation step. So in this case, our ultimate objective is to translate this EDI data into the JSON structure of this process API and send it to that API endpoint. So we have to map this EDI 850 document into our process API's canonical information model structure, which is a JSON definition, which can very well be an XML or a XML or a CSV as well, as Partner Manager supports different data formats as needed by individual organizations. The mapping from EDI or any data format to any data format in MuleSoft is something that you would build using what we call as data weave, which is one of the most powerful and intuitive data transformation engine in the world. So on the left side, we have defined the source message type, which in this case is a 4010 850 EDI purchase order data. On the right side, we have defined the structure of our process API's JSON definition. So as you scroll up and down, you can expand your EDI message segments and the data elements. And if you hover your mouse over, you are able to see what those data fields and labels are. And from there on, you're essentially able to simply drag and drop your data fields from source to target. And as you do that, DataWeave automatically takes care of building your transformation script, which you then download and import into Anypoint Partner Manager in the message mapping configuration. DataWeave provides a real-time preview to show what the translated output data looks like as the developers are dragging and dropping and building those data transformation logics in DataWeave. So what that means is developers get immediate design time preview of what the translated data is going to look like. So they don't have to worry about building the map, deploying it into a server, run some tests only to find out that there are 10 fields that requires rework. So this real-time preview basically cuts down a lot of the development effort in providing the necessary tooling and tips for developers to build a map once and build it right. So this map is what is put in this step in Partner Manager, and then the translated data is eventually sent to the process API. Let's now go to the second message flow for home supplies, which sends their own custom JSON purchase order message structure. As you can see here, they are also sending this JSON purchase order message, even though it's not an EDI, into the same endpoint to which Orange Tree is sending the EDI transaction into. So essentially, you are able to build a lot of the foundational and reusable configurations in Partner Manager, whether it's an endpoint or a message type definition, and reuse those configurations over and over again on subsequent trading partner onboarding for the same message type or a different message type. So Partner Manager is able to dynamically identify the message types and route the data as needed. So in this case, Home Supply sends this custom JSON message through the same endpoint, which is the HTTP one. And then our goal again is like they send their own custom data format and we have to convert that into our process API's format. So this requires a simple JSON to JSON transformation to convert their JSON message into our JSON message structure. The good news is doing whether you're building an EDI to JSON or a JSON to EDI or a JSON to JSON, JSON to XML, any data transformation within MuleSoft platform, you learn one single skill set, which is data weave, which provides intuitive way of mapping your source and target message structures. So here on the left side, we have Home Supply's custom JSON purchase order message structure. And on the right side, we have the canonical JSON structure that is defined in our order management process API. And the map is basically built to map those different fields with simple drag and drop style developer experience. As the map is getting built, you're also able to get real-time preview. As long as you supply sample data, you know exactly what the translated output is going to look like. So once you are happy with the produced output, you are able to copy or download this mapping script and put it in your message flow definition in Partner Manager. Let's go to the third partner, who is Smartronics. And obviously, as we know their use case, they don't send structured documents like an EDI or a JSON or an XML. So we have a pre-processing step involving MuleSoft IDP. The first step in defining handling these use cases is to define what we call as a document action to define actions such as purchase orders or invoices or other generic document types in IDP. So here we have defined a B2B purchase order document action in our instance of IDP. And as you do that, you can also import a sample file. So which in this case, we have a sample purchase order data that we have received from the customer Smartronics that we have run through this system. And as you can see here on the right side, it extracts a lot of these information such as the order number, the date, the ship to, bill to, and all these information. And then it also has identified a table that contains all these line item related information, including the product code, description, quantity, and whatnot. So once you create the document action, you can publish those document actions into MuleSoft's Anypoint exchange. And once the publication happens, that document action becomes a consumable API asset that can be called from a Mule application or a Salesforce flow or an RPA bot. It can be consumed from different places as needed, and that forms the foundation of how we process these unstructured business documents. Once this document action is published, you build a simple Mule application for this demonstration where we are reading the email coming into our purchase order mailbox. And then if there are emails, we are downloading the attachment. And then once the attachment is downloaded, we are submitting that PDF data content into MuleSoft IDP for extracting that information into a neat standardized JSON structure. So once that JSON message is received back from IDP, we are essentially posting that JSON message exactly as is to a partner manager endpoint here in this step. And then once it is done, we are marking that email as read because we know the message is successfully handed off to partner manager. So now let's go into the message flow for Smartronics in partner manager. So as you see here, we are receiving the incoming IDP purchase order JSON message through this endpoint. So this is the same endpoint to which our customers, home supplies, and Orange Tree were sending the EDI and the custom JSON purchase order data into. We are essentially reusing the same endpoint even for internal consumption as well. So a lot of reusability. So the IDP generates the purchase order data in its own JSON structure. But then our backend application data structures, in this case, we are using Salesforce Order Management. You may want to send this data into NetSuite or into SAP as an IDOC XML. So you have to take that IDP provided JSON message and enrich and transform that into your backend application specific data format. So the good news with Partner Manager is you are able to do that through configurations. You still need to build this mapping to convert the IDP specific JSON purchase order structure into your backend process API structure, which is this map that we have built. So on the left side, this is what the IDP generated response is going to look like. So it contains things like your fields coming from the document extraction, like the PO number and the line item information, which is kind of presented as a table, as an array. And you are then kind of mapping it into the same JSON structure for your process API, exactly how you mapped your home supplies custom JSON format. And as you would expect, you are able to get real-time preview of this as well. So you know exactly how you are further enriching your IDP provided JSON purchase order into a format in which you can hand it off to your backend process API orchestration. So once this map is ready, you're essentially putting that in your message flow configuration in Partner Manager. And once the translated JSON is ready, you are calling the process API endpoint. So all these three message flows that we see here, they're all receiving the data from the same endpoint. They can be a very different endpoint depending on the protocol used by your partners, but in this case, it's the same endpoint. The message type is different in all these message flows from the three customers. But then ultimately, you are translating all these data from different formats into your same canonical information model structure and sending it to your process API. So this EDI order went to the same endpoint. This custom JSON, after the translation, it went to the same endpoint. And this thing that came as a PDF document went through IDP, and then it went through another transformation step to be converted into the same data format of your process API, and that order is sent to the same API as well. So now all these three message flows are deployed and ready to go. We are going to first start off by sending a PDF purchase order from Smartronics. So let's change this PO number to end in 8. So this is ready. So we are now going to email this purchase order data into Mythical Appliances B2B Orders mailbox as a PDF attachment. And here I refresh my mailbox. So we just got this PO number ending in '08 that's ready to be processed by IDP. While we are waiting for that to happen, let's go and send those EDA orders from Orange Tree to Mythical and our custom JSON purchase order coming from Home Supplies going to Mythical Appliances. So we just dropped 3 files of different data formats for Mythical Appliances to get those orders and fulfill those orders for those three customers. Let's now let's now refresh this mailbox. Okay, now the email is marked as read, which means the IDP execution and the processing is complete. And with that, let's go into Salesforce Order Management. All right. So we are in Salesforce Order Management Order Summary page, and let's refresh this page. And at 11:38, which is just a few seconds ago, almost instantaneously or very, very near real time, all these three orders. First one that came in is from Orange Tree, which was that EDI 850 that we sent through the Postman collection. The second one was the custom JSON from Home Supplies. And the third one is the PDF file that we sent on behalf of Smartronics. So let's go into the Smartronics order ending in '08. So it contains all the information that you would expect in a typical order in an order management system, including the shipping address. For instance, it's shipping to 434 Dreamy Way, Madison, Wisconsin, and it's exactly the same address that we wanted this order to be shipped to. So all of this information is all passed, extracted by IDP, presented to partner manager, and then it did the next set of transformation to send that data into the order management process API, which took care of creating those orders in a very well streamlined manner in order management. And let's go into order summaries again. So let's go and look at the second order from Home Supplies, which was that custom JSON order that was sent from through a RESTful API call. So again, like it looks really good with all the information that you would expect in a typical order. Like this is basically shipping to Olive Boulevard, Oakland. And if we go back to our JSON message that they sent, it looks exactly the same as what was sent. So essentially, all of these different customer orders, though they were sent through three different data formats, they were all captured exactly as you would expect. So Mythical Appliances is able to actually handle and fulfill all these orders in a consistent way. And also all the post-order processing, customer service, and support experiences can all be unified and kept consistent. So the service agents of Mythical Appliances don't have to follow three different playbooks when it comes to supporting customer cases from customers sending orders through different data formats and channels. So it's all fully streamlined into a single platform, offering a streamlined visibility into the entire order fulfillment lifecycle. That's what you see as a business or an IT user from Salesforce Order Management. So let's now go into Partner Manager. So the activity page in Partner Manager is where your IT support business users get rich visibility into all the B2B transactions coming in and going out. So you can filter the transactions by different fields, including searching for orders from a specific customer or a specific document type or a specific attribute such as your PO number or a sales order number and things like that. So that's the kind of filtering capabilities offered by Partner Manager. So let's now start off with the first order that we sent uh, during this demonstration, which is the 850 from Orange Tree. It's an EDA transaction. So let's go and see how it looks. So here, this order information, this screen basically provides a neat view of different metadata information on when the message was received, what type of message it was, how it was received, and you can also click and view the EDA payload that was sent by the customer. And this was obviously translated into a JSON structure, which is this message. And this JSON was sent to this process API at this time. So that provides an end-to-end view of what the pre-translated data looks like, what the post-translated data looks like. And you also notice that we are extracting a few useful information from the data that is processed, including things like the PO number, the buyer's information, and their name, which can be handy if you want to search for a particular PO number or a particular email address from a research and troubleshooting standpoint. And now let's go into our second order, which was from Home Supplies. So they sent a custom JSON message into the same endpoint. So you can view the JSON message that they sent and the translated JSON that was sent to our internal process API. And you're also seeing the same set of message attributes extracted from the JSON payload. And lastly, at 11:38, when the PDF data that was received from Smartronics was processed through the Mule application into IDP, and then the IDP provided a JSON message, which is the source payload of this transaction in Partner Manager. So this is the PDF was sent to IDP, and IDP generated this JSON message, and it was sent to Partner Manager by that custom Mule pre-processing application. And eventually that JSON was translated into the JSON structure of our process API and sent to the API for creating the orders in Salesforce. And you will also notice that we are extracting a different set of custom message attributes on the messages processed through IDP. So again, like the PO number is a common thing that we extract in all the data types related to orders. And as these messages go through IDP, IDP provides a unique execution ID. Like this can be handy if you want to search for a particular PDF file that was processed through IDP and you want to look at what that JSON message looked like. You're able to copy that execution ID and search for that ID. Now, if we search for that particular ID, that could be hundreds and thousands of transactions in your environment. And if you're looking for a specific data, you are able to essentially get to it with a very quick search. One last thing here is obviously let's go into this A10. So as these EDI orders or any orders that are executed through the fulfillment lifecycle in Salesforce Order Management or your ERP applications, you can build an end-to-end entire workflow, not just processing orders coming in, but also the order acknowledgements, the shipment notice, invoices, or warehouse shipping orders and shipping advices and things of that sort. You can execute any and all kinds of B2B transaction workflows using Partner Manager. So let's now go into this A10 invoice of that orange tree order. So we come here into this orange tree's order record. So we see that there is an invoice record created in Salesforce with this document number ending in 202. If we come into this, so we are looking at that invoice and we are seeing that exact invoice number that is matching with the Salesforce order management record. And here in this case, the backend, once the order is shipped, it generates and sends an invoice notice to Partner Manager as a JSON message, which is then converted into an EDI X12 810 invoice transaction and sent out to the customer. So we're extracting things that are very specific to invoices. So there is this invoice number, invoice amount, and you're still mapping your PO number in all the transactions. So now let's copy this PO number and let's search for the purchase order number that we just copied. As we do that, we are actually able to see the entire life cycle of this purchase order. Like the 850 was the first transaction, it's an 850 purchase order. And then we have the shipment notice, we have the PO acknowledgement, we have the invoice. And after receiving the invoice, the customer is actually returning an 820 payment remittance transaction, indicating that they paid that invoice off. And that message is also orchestrated back into Salesforce Order Management. And you see that the payment summary record is also updated with that payment that was made by the customer for that invoice that we sent earlier. So the entire orchestration is something that you can fully build leveraging MuleSoft's Anypoint platform and Partner Manager to execute a complete lifecycle of your orders. And one last thing before we wrap up this demonstration is the ability to get end-to-end traceability of your transactions. As messages are processed through Partner Manager generates a unique transmission and a message ID record. Let's copy this transmission ID and go to Anypoint Monitoring. And in Anypoint Monitoring, navigating into centralized log search. So let's copy this transmission ID and sort it reverse. So you see that at 11:37:46, when we sent the message through Postman, it was sent to this inbound HTTP PJ32 API. So it was essentially this API to which we sent the EDI 850 data into. And from that moment onwards, as these transactions are processed through different processing steps and stages within the Anypoint platform, a lot of actions happen in Partner Manager where it goes through the acknowledgements, it goes through the AS2 MDNs, or it goes through the mapping from EDI to a JSON message structure. So you're able to actually see all of your actions. So this is basically the process API getting that translated JSON message. And then it basically goes through that process of creating that order in the by calling the system API. And once that system API completes the creation of the order in Salesforce, the process API basically is telling that the order record is created in Salesforce. So what this means is you are able to trace the transaction activity, not just from the EDI layer, but also very deep into your application layer as well to get a full end-to-end traceability of the transaction. So if you have a situation where you're seeing things taking more time, you're not seeing some order showing up in your backend systems, this would be a place where you're able to and get a full visibility of your where things are probably taking more time or where things probably have ran into an issue that is not surfaced in your UI. So this would be a good place from a troubleshooting standpoint. All right, so that brings us to the end of this demonstration, where we looked at how Mythical Appliances is able to process orders coming from many of their different customers that chose to use different EDA standards, different custom data formats such as JSONs, or it could very well be an XML or a CSV or PDFs or images. Mythical Appliances was able to leverage the power of the unified Anypoint platform to orchestrate and streamline all of their order to cash workflows, leveraging MuleSoft and Salesforce Order Management. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you found this video to be informative, and we'll follow it up with more information very soon. Thank you. Bye bye.